Fund, ETF, by the Act number 7 of 1993, and eventually it was amended in 1998 and later was repealed and replaced with the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act of 2011. It's an intervention agency set up to provide supplementary support to all levels of public tertiary institutions in Nigeria. The funds are distributed in the general improvement of education in public tertiary education, specifically for the provision or maintenance of essential physical infrastructure for teaching and research, instructional material and equipment, research and publications, academic staff training and development, and any other need which, in the opinion of the Board of Trustees, is critical and essential for the improvement and maintenance of standards in the higher educational institutions. Aside budgetary allocations, which are never enough institutions, TED Fund has increasingly been a major saving grace for R&D activities at the Nigerian tertiary institutions since its developed as ETF. I thought TED Fund deserves a round of applause. I'm not going to the history of TED Fund. It was a product of relationship of interactions between the academic union, the vice chancellors, and the government of the day, the military government of the day, and so we came to that level. TED Fund, in another grand step, and more recently, it's even at the hatching stage. In another grand step to promote innovative research, the federal government, through TED Fund, is set to establish 18 innovation hubs across tertiary institutions this very year. And the plan is to set up 72 innovation hubs in phases over the next few years. This is found in the NUC Bulletin of April this year. So briefly, I'll tell you about the innovative research as an engine of growth. And I may run through the slides at this level. Innovative research in science and tech is a critical input for any form of national development. Again, I say with confidence that no nation can rise above the levels of its research capability. Records have shown that emerging and leading nations of the world prioritize innovative research at all levels. The economic boom and consequent prosperity that were recorded after the Second World War by Japan and other developed nations was attributed largely to the development in science and technology. That was given by Morris Suzuki in 1997. The acquisition, effective adaptation and improvement of technologies from abroad by Japanese industries serve as the basis for Japan's rapid economic growth and international competitiveness in a wide variety of manufacturing industries. Z et al. 2014 submitted that scientific advances contributed 51.7% of China's economic growth in 2011. A visit to China today, especially the city of Beijing, will clearly convince someone that China is not at the same level with other developing nations. It's not. In the Wealth of Nations, a book written by Smith in 1994, he observed that invention, growth in capital per worker, and advances in industrial organizations were all linked. Sometimes in 2006, I made a publication where I observed that today's world is not driven by the wealth of nations in terms of natural resources, but by technological advancement. And if it was in terms of natural resources, Nigeria should be on top. Even in Africa, we are not on top. Through the ages, today's developed nations have engaged in innovations in science and tech to achieve their development goals. Science and tech have long been regarded as important determinants of economic growth. Unlike capital and labor, science and tech do not suffer from diminishing returns. Rather, they appreciate and thus are more powerful drivers of any development. Even the powerful country known as the United States, the National Academy of the US in 2005 observed that since the Industrial Revolution, the growth of economics throughout the world has been driven largely by the pursuit of scientific understanding, the application of engineering solutions, and continual technological innovation. That's innovative research. SACS 2012, having served as special advisor to the MDGs to two United Nations, Secretary General Kofi Annan and Ban Ki-moon asserted that the world would need new technologies and new ways to organize human activities to combine improving living standards and ecological imperatives. The technological revolutions of 21st century are emerging from entirely new sectors based on microprocessors, telecommunications, space technology, biotechnology, and nanotechnology. Technology products are transforming business practices across the economy, as well as the lives of all who have access to their effects. The trends of availability of postdoctoral grants at advanced nations and emerging nations like India, Germany, Brazil, China, South Africa, and Malaysia underscored the readiness of those nations to sustain innovative research and ensure sustainable institutional development. Japanese MEST, German DART and AVH, and American Fulbright are academic fellowships that have continued to contribute to institutional and industrial developments in the host nations. You see, the other way around, we offer scholarships, we send people overseas. Those people offer scholarships, they invite people to their countries. Come here, you do our research for you, for us, we patent whatever you get, we used you for a while, we offer you first postdoc, second postdoc, third postdoc, then when you are about to retire, we send you back to your country. They are developing their institutions. I think I like what TED Fund is doing. I like what the Federal Ministry of Education is saying. The Federal Minister of Education is saying. We need to try another experiment. And all this came after this topic has been submitted about 4 months ago. It shows we're thinking the way the world is moving. Nobody will develop your father's land for you the way you are to develop it. Nations that fail to invest in innovative research shall remain the dumping ground for technologies developed by other nations. In order to be an active player in emerging technologies and to ensure sustainable institutional development, Nigeria cannot afford to be inactive in promoting innovative research. I talk a little about strategic partnership and sustainable institutional development before going to recommendation. Strategic partnerships and sustainable institutional development. Major problems threatening the future of our institutions of concern, that is the tertiary academic institutions as well as the R&D institutions. The major problems threatening them, their future, the present and future. The problems confronting them and the ones that are threatening the future are funding, human resources, and infrastructure. Strategic partnership. Strategic partnership actually have what it takes to eliminate all of these problems, because it facilitates the pooling of resources capable of meeting these basic needs that can sustain our institutions beyond the present dispensations. R&D agencies do have funds for research, no matter how small, which can be shared. Some R&D agencies have budgets that are more than what a university is having. And then you have 20-something R&D agencies under some ministries. These resources can be shared with their counterpart agencies and that are with relevant mandates and common tasks. Abukale 2024 emphasized the need for educational stakeholders and industry partners to collaborate closely to craft a coherent strategy and action plans towards achieving a sustainable education system. Through international strategic partnerships, national institutions can attain global relevance and prominence. It's a known fact that research and global connections are core indices in the global ranking of institutions. So you see why some of our institutions cannot go between the first 200 in the world. And very juicy grants at all levels, institutions. The 21st century research certainly requires strategic partnerships over staff exchange across institutions, which in turn provide training not hitherto available at home institutions to beneficiaries at visiting institutions. Therefore, strategic partnerships enhance global competitiveness and promote innovative research. Likewise, some of the research works, being outsourced to foreign experts by some of our national R&D institutions could be done locally by experts within our university systems, thus avoiding unnecessary capital flights, but for lack of structured partnerships. Some of our universities are doing very well in forging international and national courses. For example, the University of Ibadan has an office of a Deputy Vice Chancellor dedicated to research, innovation, and strategic partnerships. You can visit the webpage of the university and then you see what I'm talking about. If they have waited only for national resources, they will not be where they are today. There's a huge catalog of grants won by the institutions at different times in history, and collaboration R&D institutions as well. Regulatory bodies and overseeing ministries can also work towards the establishment of cross-institutional partnerships. For example, the Federal Ministry of Health can bring all the R&D institutions and colleges within its fold into one big structured partnership. The R&D agencies should also have broad intra- and inter-ministerial partnerships. Building strategic collaborations entail some of the following procedures: setting out to build, being serious about collaboration, keeping the pace of task, bringing something to the table, transparency, acknowledging other partners' ideas. Emotional intelligence is also involved, and following the rules of agreement. Following the rules of agreement is very essential. Collaboration is beyond ceremonial signing of memorandum of understanding. There are things we can get via strategic partnership. There is a university in Japan today called the Egypt-Japan University of Science and Technology. I know the story of that university. The entire university structure was built by the Japanese government as a contribution to higher education in Japan. We've never had such in Nigeria. These are things we can get via strategic partnerships. As at that time, Japan has a scientific attaché to Egypt, to Egyptian embassy in Japan. And the young man moved around and got things done for his country. Strategic partnership. Working models of strategic partnerships, I want to give two examples to show these things are real. And I give Indian model. Jawaharlal Nehru, the father of the Indian nation, in the 50s, understood the role of science and technology in national development. Little wonder Little wonder the decades of 1950 to 1960 in India was marked by rapid growth and development of several research, educational, technical, and management and universities. The Indian Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, established in 1942, CSIR, today operates 37 laboratories and 39 outreach centers and one innovation complex with a pan-Indian presence. It's an autonomous body which is mainly funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology. I know how CSI work. I was privileged to work as a postdoc in one of the laboratories, the National Geophysical Research Institute located at Hyderabad in 2004 as a postdoc on that TRAS program. The R&D activity of CSR covers a wide spectrum of science and technology, which includes aerospace engineering, structural engineering, ocean sciences, life sciences, geophysics, oil exploration, leather, drugs, biotechnology, nanotechnology, aeronautic, instrumentation, environmental engineering, and information technology, etc. It provides significant technological innovations in many areas of society, which includes environment, health, drinking water, food, housing, energy, agricultural, and non-agricultural sectors. As at the time that I was there, there was no foreign company that could do oil exploration in India. NGRI was doing the oil exploration in India. By that, you know what you have. When you ask a visitor to begin to check your pockets for you and take whatever is there, the visitor will know what to present, declare to you. I'm sure you are getting my points. Some track achievements of India's CSR include development of the first Indian tractor in 1967 called Swaraj, completely based on indigenous know-how, development of the first transgenic Drosophila model for drug screening for cancer in humans, first to introduce DNA fingerprinting in India, invention of drugs and vaccines, such as once-a-week non-steroidal family planning pill, Saheli, and non-steroidal ABA pill for asthma called Asmon, and rehabilitation of India's 100-year-old refinery at Digboy using the most modern molecular distillation technology. As well as successful operation of India's first indigenous civilian aircraft in 2011. CSR has operationalized desired mechanisms to boost entrepreneurship, which could lead to enhanced creation and commercialization of radical and destructive innovations and underpinning the development of new economic sectors. The vision towards 2030 is to enhance quality of life of the citizens of India through innovative science and technology, global competitive R&D, by developing sustainable solutions and capacity building. CSIR is a big network. Universities in India revolved around the CSIR. The scientists in CSIR are professors in their universities, and all of these work together to solve problems, national problems, international problems, and they take contracts also on behalf of the government of India. Definitely, the founding fathers of India understood that there can be no industrialization without innovative research in science and tech. Today, the contributions from those scientific establishments have repositioned India as an emerging economy. This you find in the webpage of CSIR, as well as a document I did in 2014. And back home in Nigeria, I wish to showcase the success story. I heard of it recently, and that is that of the KU8 Plus. Is there any member of KU8 Plus here? Kwara State established a strategic partnership and inaugurated a consortium of 8 Kwara universities called KU8 on 11th January 2023. They declared a commitment to fostering collaboration and excellence in education, research, and community service. KU8 actually established academic linkages beneficial to its members, to its respective members, to promote joint studies and educational exchanges of mutual benefits. There is a web page of KU8, you can Google it, and then you can also have it. Most Nigerian universities, well, I had my first degree from the University of Ilorin, so I'm part of KU8 plus. Most Nigerian universities have several MOU with overseas universities and MBAs, and have none with sister universities in their neighborhood. KU8 Plus is a laudable project which can be replicated elsewhere in the country. We can move in parts, we can come together. Lagos State has many universities. Kano, big states in Nigeria have many universities, and they don't talk to each other. Can be replicated. KU8 is a laudable project which can be replicated elsewhere in the country and to form the nucleus of a strategic partnership of our dream today at national level. Charity begins at home, so the saying goes. KU8 Plus is planning to hold a 3rd annual conference with the theme very similar to what we are sharing here: innovation and sustainability of higher education in a changing world. And this will be in August, somewhere in Kwara State University. Now, when talks like this are coming up, it shows that there is a need to think of how do we sustain our university system, how do we sustain our R&D institutions that are expanding and increasing in numbers. At this point, I have some questions for regulatory bodies and founders of tertiary and R&D institutions. I have 3 questions. How do we connect? Okay, before then, I would want to show a case of a practical example of what I passed through. I was privileged to establish a Center for Atmospheric Research in 2013. And at the end of the 9th year, I did a report. And from 0 level, that center was moved to become a global center of excellence. Within those 9 years, there were about 3 years when we had 0 capital budgets. There was a budget, but there was no money. But we are working. And the secret today was because I got involved in innovative research and strategic partnerships. Funders were not giving us money, but we are doing projects. Our international partners were bringing equipment, we are installing them in different parts of the country. We are felt in Maiduguri, Sokoto, Lagos, Port Harcourt, everywhere, Abuja. And within those 9 years, about 6 buildings were built in 6 different towns in this country, laboratories. Because we were able to also have partnership with some people at the National Assembly. And they developed laboratories as part of their constituency projects. If we had been waiting for statutory budgetary allocations, I wouldn't have achieved anything there. At the end of the 9th year, I was moved to another role. I wouldn't know whatever is going on there right now, but to me, that was a great achievement. It's a pointer towards strategic collaboration with us. Thank you very much. Some questions for regulatory bodies and funders of tertiary and R&D institutions. How do we connect all the R&D establishments or institutes and forge partnerships among them? I belong to the Nigerian Space Agency. I know we are working hard to forge collaborations. People use our products. They prefer to import maps from overseas. can get this from the government free of charge because government is funding us. We have several R&D agencies in the country. They don't talk to each other. There is a need to have a change of attitude. There is a need to foster that collaboration. How do we connect the tertiary institutions and public R&D institutions or agencies in strategic partnerships towards the promotion of innovative research? How do we foster strategic partnerships between academic tertiary institutions and industries towards innovative research? These things are possible. Recommendation before I make my conclusions. Mr. President of this great academy, the academy may need to work with the appropriate bodies to actualize the following recommendations. One, there should be a concerted effort to re-internationalize our tertiary and scientific R&D institutions. We still met the tradition when we were schooling in the universities. We had people coming from outside Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Egypt, to school with us. They were our classmates. Today, the story has changed. We have people. That's during the time the center established. We had foreign visitors. International bodies who prefer to buy their tickets. They were very interested in giving us money, and I understood what we were running away from. They buy tickets, they pay for the hotel accommodation, and then we provide some stipends for those guys. And we did great work together, and we were organizing also international conferences with people, because my center was sponsoring some Nigerians from Nigerian universities to participate in international conferences. And it was a great thing to see the logo of NASA side by side with the logo of NASA at international meetings. Secondly, regulatory bodies and overseeing ministries should, as a matter of national emergency, I did mention this during the talk, but it's implied, take over the responsibility of payment of accumulated national subscription fees for membership of several global scientific bodies. There are many scientific bodies that Nigeria has been knocked out from. We are not where we are, so we cannot vote. We cannot enjoy the privileges. And they classify Nigeria as not a poor country. Other countries in Africa, some other countries in Africa are enjoying the privileges that we cannot enjoy. A lot of grants opportunities are eluding our institutions and national scientists due to our non-participation in global scientific societies as a result of our poor financial status. At the Center for Atmospheric Research, I used to pay $1,000 to one particular international body. But since I left, I have received several emails. I cannot even pass the message to any other place, because I know the situation in the country. We keep going down, and other nations are rising. The regulatory or supervisory bodies should establish an internal structure to foster and coordinate interministerial agencies among constituent agencies or institutions. Like UI has a whole DPC office dedicated to that purpose. It is high time this is done in regulatory bodies and organizations that has to do with higher institutions. Therefore, should consider sponsorship of sustainable strategic partnerships among the higher institutions as a means of sustaining its multi-billion investment over the years. Therefore, Act should be revisited to allow some Nigerian institutions to host international scholars and academics on cross-institutional exchange programs. The federal government of Nigeria should do everything possible to ensure that the mandate and activities of TED Fund are preserved under the new tax reform dispensation. There are not a lot of things going on. TED Fund is described 1969. He made this statement in 1950s. It is science and science alone that can solve the problems of hunger, and poverty, of insanitation, and running to waste of a rich country inhabited by starving people. Science is the spirit of the age and dominating force of the world. The future belongs to science and to those who make friends with science and seek its help for the advancement of humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Radu, for an excellent presentation that has informed us very clearly on the topic of your lecture, innovative research and strategic partnerships, catalysts for sustainable institutional development. Although we are running out of time, the lecturer said he can take 2 or 3 questions. So, does any one of you have very brief, straightforward question, not a lecture? Okay, that's one. Any other one? This side, any question? Second one. Okay, that's 2. Then the last one. I remember one of the ladies for gender. No third one? Okay, Professor Howard. Okay, let's start here. Straightforward, please, we're running out of time.
Well, thank you very much. Mine is not really a question, it's a comment, which should be taken as a question. And it is the point you made about subscription in leading societies. It is a problem that some of us have faced. You find that you cannot maintain your membership of leading societies that may engender the possibility of joining areas where you can attract grants. So the question is, how do we really move forward? How do we get the Nigerian society to imbibe this and move forward?
Thank you very much. The next one,
Science in Nigeria.
Thank you very much for the great presentations and greetings from Professor Kiwete, University of South Africa. My question is quick. The challenge we have is basically the volume of the economy. Africa has a GDP of about 3.4 trillion US dollars, and some companies, big companies, have revenue that exceeds that. So clearly, if we push these countries, we will make it. We would need to consider the continent that is, that big amount of GDP. How can we really have an African effort that takes that into account so that Africa collaborates and can compete effectively against other big countries?
The last question.
the reasons why I believed we did that. Secondly, I was asking you earlier in the day if you were among those that went to Saudi. Because the idea was for them to go to Saudi and understand how these satellites are produced. So that even if it means coming back to reverse engineering and produce our indigenous satellites, they should be able to do that. Lastly, those satellites I know that they have different resolutions. To the extent that you can read the plate number of some of these some of the vehicles that are moving, on your terrestrial planets. But to my disappointment, the NASA is not able to detect the motion of Boko Haram. Even when they move in a convoy of 51 you are frowning at me, Prof. You don't want me to talk, I'll sit down. Huh? If you don't want me to talk, I'll sit down. So, I'm really surprised. And I know a lot of you professors that are there. And I know the amount of money we have invested in that. How do you convince us? And we know what we have done to foster partnership between yourselves and even other institutions like universities and all that. We don't have anything to show for this. It's really quite a shame. There is something interesting too that happened. There's something interesting too that happened. I went to visit your parastatal. And I saw a lot of very good work that was being done there. And I said there is no reason why we cannot produce solar cells. I don't mean solar panels, I mean solar cells. Technology is very simple. Einstein's law of photoelectric effect. We all know it. And I challenged them. It's parastatal, Sheda, and which other parastatal was it? Naseni. And I know they have, as at when I left, they had achieved the production of solar cells with about 40% efficiency. I'm not surprised, and nobody should be surprised about that, because light is a low quality energy. So if you're able to achieve 40%, that is what is happening. So Mr. President, what happened to that project? Did you commercialize it, or where did you take it from? Thank you very much indeed. And lastly, never you present a paper and mention other universities except Ahmadu Bello University. I'm not going to say that.
I should say that. Okay. Mr. President, thank you very much for this privilege. To the first question, how do we solve the problem of membership subscription? I've made a recommendation. It's beyond individuals. Some international societies, when you register for the national membership, they will make provision for like 10 or 15 members that you can pick from the country. It will cover their dues. Some allow that, like International Astronomical Union will allow that. And so this is beyond universities, and it's beyond R&D establishments. And it has to do to go to the ministerial level. And this is why I feel if universities are involved, then TED Fund may also look into it. But I think the academy is in a position to take on this for us. And I know what I'm saying is sad. Our fathers fought so hard, and some of our fathers are still here. They fought so hard to get Nigeria into some certain international organization, and we see us being thrown out, and we see other countries, Rwanda, Zambia, we see them coming in, and then grants are taking place in those countries, and now we are forced to go and be doing summer schools and doing some other things for them. I think it's a very, very, it's a state of emergency. A state of emergency should be declared in that sector, actually. And African as a continent, we have to move together. Yes, I think I may not really get you so clearly, but what I could take from there is that the need for us to move together as a unit. Yes, that is possible, but at the same time, we have to start from somewhere. We have to start from somewhere. I know we have a lot of structures. We have the African Universities, Association of African Universities. We have we have also universities in Nigeria, and but I think we have to start forging strategic partnerships somewhere. 2-3 people come together. Like I mentioned, that of KU8, I just saw it, and of course I heard of their conference some time ago, and I went to their webpage and I saw what they are doing, and they are really serious. And I felt I could showcase that. Incidentally, not many people have heard of that. So we start from somewhere and then we'll move together. And for our Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, comment, thank you very much. Those engineers who are sent to Surrey and they came back. And while they were in Surrey at the time, they developed, they developed a satellite called NigerSat-S, which was supposed to be their experimental satellite. It was just supposed to be an ordinary project, and then they were to return to Nigeria with it. They built those things by themselves, that particular satellite. But after the completion, it was tested, and it was found to be space-fitted, which means it could fly in space. And NigerSat-S was flown. And it did a lot of work, and it's still taking some measurement, though it's over time now in space. And yeah, no, sir. Yes, sir, but yeah, I'm telling with due respect, sir, yes, sir, with due respect, sir, and all right, sir, well, those engineers, some of them are still with us, some of them are retired, some of them did not return to Nigeria. But some are around, they are directors now, they are my juniors, they are directors now, they are doing fine, they are with us. Some of them is one of them that is heading the space ground, the ground station now. And I tell you, we have imagery from NigerSat-S that we distribute to Nigerian universities. We have those images, and the Nigerian space program is thriving well. Now we have the Defense Space Administration, which is the military space agency. It's co-located with our space agency, and they are using space tools, space technology tools in combating terrorism in the country. And they are doing so fine, I can tell you that. I think I will stop at that. But I will say also that, to me, one of the disadvantages of just sending people overseas for training is what we are discussing here today. And that is why those other nations invite people to their countries. China is doing that, Malaysia is doing that, South Africa is doing that, even Egypt, they are doing that right now, even Kenya. I just lost somebody to Kenya now. They gave him a very good offer, and he's there on postdoc. That's his third postdoc. So, will he come back? I don't know. But whatever thing he's doing there, he carries their affiliation. So on that note, and with due respect, my Honorable Minister, thank you so much. And thank you very much, Mr. President.
Please,
I will explain to you privately.
okay. Please, another round of applause for Professor Rabiu. And one more for taking on the minister's questions. So now we move to the second part, which I know we've been waiting for, which is induction of new fellows of the Academy. And it's my pleasure to invite as orators the academic secretaries of the Academy. And we have Professor Musba Akonji, FAS, and Professor Aki Badode, who would bring up the inductees. Please, a round of applause for the academic secretary.
Mr. President, may I request Professor Abiodun Omfri Adibayo to move to the podium. Abiodun Omfri Adebayo is a professor of biochemistry who had his BSc, MSc, and PhD degrees in biochemistry. He undertook a postdoctoral study at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. His research endeavors in phytomedicine, biochemical toxicology, and plant biochemistry have led to some outstanding research findings. Professor Adebayo's research bridges the gap between traditional medicine and modern biochemistry, uncovering the molecular mechanisms through which medicinal plants exert their therapeutic effects. His research, among others, focuses on the role of medicinal plants on the biology of diseases such as cancer, malaria, diabetes, hypertension, and so on, at both molecular and physiological levels to improve their diagnosis, prevention, and treatment. Professor Adebayo has published over 75 peer-reviewed articles, with good number of them in high-impact journals and indexed in Clarivate Analytics, Scopus, PubMed, and Google Scholar. His work has been cited extensively, reflecting its significant impact in medicinal biochemistry and phytomedicine. He has also supervised over 110 postgraduate students. He has won many research grants, including the recent Smartberry project in the UK Innovate Challenge that seeks to improve the yield of strawberry in a Nigerian local farm using AI algorithm and some biochemical parameters with value of over 245,000 UK pounds. He coordinates the $6 million World Bank funded Covenant African Center of Excellence for research in malaria, prostate, and federated genomics. He is a consultant for an international leading wellness company, QNet. Professor Adebayo was Vice Chancellor of Covenant University and elected member of the governing board of the Association of African Universities and the council member and trustee of the Association of Commonwealth Universities, where he serves on the audit and risk committees. While he was the Vice Chancellor of Covenant University, he successfully led the institution into a globally rated world-class university status through an impressive global ranking. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Abiodun Omfri Adebayo for induction as a Fellow of Academy.
I, Professor Abiodun Humphrey Adebayo, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. President, sir, may I request Professor Aina Olubukola Adeogun to approach the podium. Aina Adeogun is a professor of aquatic toxicology in the Department of Zoology, University of Ibadan, and global senior scholar of the Society of Toxicology. She was the first African president of toxicologists of African origin, director, Zoological Garden, University of Ibadan, coordinator, Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, Ibadan, and member of council at the University of Ibadan. Professor Adeogun's research focus is on endocrine disruption in fish caused by pollutants from industrial, agricultural, and domestic activities, and how they interfere with egg precursor and eggshell protein genes, causing hormonal imbalance. She has provided the first molecular evidence of pollutant-driven infertility in fish in Nigeria, with critical insights for fertility problems in humans. Our work on the molecular drivers of obesity in fish exposed to polluted waters showed similar pathways for the development of human obesity. Those findings are the first in a series of studies reported in fish species from any tropical ecosystem. She has provided the first empirical research on plastic pollution in Nigerian waters and shown that the breakdown products of plastics are present in fish stomach and water / food safety information and accumulate pollutants that can cause cancer and metabolic disorders in humans. Our studies have enhanced water food information, especially for women and children as a vulnerable subpopulation exposed to higher toxicity risks from dietary uptake of contaminated fish, and provided validated data for determining pollutants safe limits by Nigerian regulatory bodies. She has supervised 5 PhDs, 76 MSc candidates, and authored 80 publications with 1,489 citations, 24 H index, and 42 I-10 index. She was a recipient of the Seeding Labs Instrumental Access Equipment set valued at 250 million naira, and was funded on Thermo Fisher Scientific Podcast on Science with a Twist. She's a member of many learned societies, an external examiner and assessor of promotion to various professorial grade to universities. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Aina Olubukola Adeogun for induction as a fellow of the Academy.
I know Olubukola Adeogun, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Bosede Bukola Afolabi to approach the podium. Bosede Bukola Afolabi is a professor of obstetrics and gynecology in the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. She is a maternal medicine expert and has a doctorate in medicine from the University of Nottingham, UK, and is internationally recognized for her research and clinical care in sickle cell and anemia in pregnancy. A lead investigator of several research projects with grants from Tertiary Education Trust Fund, National Institutes of Health, USA, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation worth over 12 million US dollars. Bosede is the director of the Center for Clinical Trials and Implementation Science of the University of Lagos and is currently supervising 7 PhD students and has mentored and supervised 22 senior residents and junior academics in various research projects for their fellowship dissertations. She has authored over 115 publications, including systematic reviews and randomized clinical trials, and is on the editorial board of several journals, including Reproductive Health and Journal of West African College of Surgeons. Her more recent accolades and awards include as speaker at the Gates Foundation Goalkeepers event during the 2023 UN General Assembly, Excellence in Research Award by the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Nigeria in November 2022, Ojo Memorial Lecturer at the 56th Annual Scientific Conference of Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Nigeria, November 2022. She was featured on CNN African Voices in 2013 for her work in sickle cell pregnancy, teaching and reducing maternal mortality. She is the president of the Association of Fetal-Maternal Medicine Specialists of Nigeria and is on the board of several companies. She chairs the board of Kensington Adebukola Adebutu Foundation, Laboratory and Maternity Center, and the Maternal and Reproductive Health Research Collective, a non-profit organization dedicated to reducing maternal mortality in Nigeria. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Bosede Bukola Afolabi to be inducted as a fellow of the Academy.
I, Bosede Bukola Afolabi, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
John Aneto is a clinical chemist and toxicologist of international renown. He holds a PhD in chemical pathology from the University of Ibadan and postdoctoral training at the Osaka City University Medical School, Japan. He is currently a professor and head Chemical Pathology Department, University of Ibadan. He is a fellow, Academy of Diagnostics and Laboratory Medicine, fellow, Academy of Toxicological Sciences, fellow, Royal Society of Chemistry, and fellow, American College of Nutrition. He is a life member, Environmental Mutagen Society of India, among others. He was a visiting professor and consultant, Cumming School of Medicine, University of Calgary, Canada. He chairs the International Federation of Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medicine Task Force on Environmental Impact of Laboratory Medicine, representing IFCC as a member of the World Health Organization non-state actors in official relations. His research focuses on investigating toxic states, including chemical carcinogenesis and amelioration with nutritional factors based on the antioxidant hypothesis, including chemoprevention, employing molecular mechanisms. Aneto's laboratory first alluded to the classic lead poisoning that occurred in Zamfara State. His reports proved that deficit in key nutrients common in low and middle income countries potentiate lead neurotoxicity even at very low levels. His team demonstrated that iron supplementation in pregnancy is associated with profound oxidative stress. Notably, Aneto's team first demonstrated that the important metabolite of arsenic, dimethyl arsenic acid, has weak cancer initiation activity, which in the presence of synergistic toxicants abundant in LMICs raise arsenic carcinogenic potential, affecting millions globally. He was member National Committee for Removal of Lead from Nigeria's gasoline, sponsored by the World Bank. He was principal consultant, Federal Ministry of Health Consultancy for National Lead Poison Elimination, Treatment and Strategic Intervention Scheme. He is a section editor, Chemical Pathology, African Journal of Laboratory Medicine, Cape Town. He has over 165 publications with 2,148 Google Scholar citation, H-index 24 and I-10 index 46. Mr. President, I present to you Professor John Aneto for induction as a fellow of the Academy.
I, John Ibagbemie Aneto, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
President, may I invite Professor Olatunbosun Ganiyu Arinola to the podium. Ganiyu Olatunbosun Arinola was awarded Departmental Best Graduating Student and National Merit Scholarship Award during his BSc Zoology degree program at the University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. He obtained Masters of Science Cellular Pathology and PhD Immunology degrees from University of Ibadan, where he was promoted to professor in 2007. His doctoral research established that immune response in school children harboring schistosoma hematobium was adequate, which made the infected school children tolerate the parasite for a long time. His postdoctoral research in WHO Immunology Center, Switzerland, revealed that cytokine switch in Leishmania, major infected pregnant rats, leads to elimination of parasite and pregnancy loss. He demonstrated that cytokine imbalance at second trimester resulted in spontaneous abortion in pregnant women, and that low birth weight babies were deficient in phagocytic processes and vaccine responses. He exhibited that chronic use of wood or kerosene stove, pesticides, skin lightening creams, or alcoholic beverages stimulated inflammatory responses, hypoxia, and respiratory bursts that initiated cancers, caused negative pregnant outcomes, and affected cognition. He revealed that ticks, vaccines, COVID-19 patients in Ibadan Isolated Center exhibited ticks were, he revealed that ticks were capable of transmitting pathogens. Sickle cell disease patients responded adequately to pneumococcal vaccines. COVID-19 patients in Ibadan Isolated Center exhibited mild inflammatory responses, and herd immunity had arisen among populace before administration of COVID-19 vaccines, which had different antibody production efficacy. He has benefited from travel fellowships and research grants. He was external examiner and visiting scholar to universities within and outside Nigeria. He has published over 250 articles in peer-reviewed journals. He has Google Scholar H-index of 30, contributed chapters in immunology textbooks, reviewed a chapter in a compendium of clinical medicine, and supervised 18 BSc, BMLS, and 30 MSc dissertations, 12 PhD theses, and 1 MD thesis. He was a member of committees. In the University of Ibadan, head of Chemical Pathology Department and head of Immunology Department. He is president of Nigerian Society for Immunology and member of ARETA Clinical Trial in Breast Cancer Patients and CAAPA Consortium that determine asthma-related genes in African Americans and Africans. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Olatunbosun Ganiyu Arinola for induction as a fellow of the Academy.
I, Professor Ganiyu Olatunbosun Arinola, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and to serve the Academy according to its statute and bylaws. So help me God.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Olubenga Solomon Bello to the podium. Professor Olubenga Bello had his BTech in Laduke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, MSc and PhD in University of Ibadan. He has been a professor of physical chemistry at LAUTECH, Ogbomoso, for over 2 decades. He was the recipient of the 2019 Nigerian Academy of Science Gold Medal Award in Physical Sciences. He had earlier received the African Journal Third World Academy of Science Young Scientist National Award in 2012, and the Professor Kayode Adebowale Young Scientist Prize in Chemical Sciences, organized by the Nigerian Young Academy in 2016. He benefited from the USM TWS postdoctoral and visiting scholar fellowships to the School of Chemical Engineering, University of Science, Malaysia. He won the TWAS Research Grant 2012 and 2015, Third Fund Institutional-Based Research Grant in 2016. He was nominated and recognized as one of the 175 Faces of Chemistry worldwide by the Royal Society of Chemistry, UK. He was listed among the 2% most cited scientists in the world by a group of Stanford University researchers. Professor Bello's research interest is focused on absorption of heavy metals, dyes, pharmaceuticals, and pesticides from wastewater using agricultural waste materials as adsorbents in lieu of expensive commercial activated carbon to bioremediate the environment. His accomplishments, as well as the significant impact of his research findings, have contributed immensely to environmental protection and conservation. It has positively impacted stakeholders like environmentalists, water purification experts, and those in the medical disciplines. He has mentored several postgraduate students and published over 100 articles in high-impact, reputable journals. He has delivered keynote and lead papers at national and international conferences. He has served as external examiner and assessor to many universities nationally and internationally. He has served on various committees in the university. He is the managing editor of Science-Focused Journal of LAUTECH Ogbomoso. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Olubenga Solomon Bello to be inducted into the Fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Science.
I, Olubenga Solomon Bello, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
by the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Adegoke Gbadegesin Falade to approach the podium. Adegoke Falade is a professor of pediatric pulmonology at the University of Ibadan, consultant pediatrician to the University College Hospital Ibadan, expert on childhood pneumonia and bronchial asthma. Is one of the 20 commissioners for the current Lancet Global Health Commission on Oxygen Security. His contribution to science include showing that Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae type B are important causes of community-acquired pneumonia in several malnourished children, showing that blood culture may not always provide the complete etiological diagnosis of severe CAP. Hence, the need for long aspirate culture in vaccine study, and showing that pneumococcal disease was an important cause of morbidity and mortality in Nigerian children. These findings, taken together, have improved the management of pneumonia in children. As part of international study of asthma and allergies in childhood and Global Asthma Network Phase 1, is still defined not for the first time, the time trend in symptoms of asthma among school children in Ibadan over a period of 23 years. Professor Falade led the oxygen implementation project in 12 secondary level hospitals in southwest Nigeria, reducing case fatality rate by 50% in under 5 pneumonia deaths. He has translated research into policy and practice through improving oxygen systems in Nigeria, developing national oxygen policies, clinical guidelines, and new oxygen scale-up strategies in Nigeria, and training healthcare workers in all the 6 geopolitical regions of Nigeria on pulse oximetry and treatment of hypoxemia. He has taken part in training medical students and mentoring residents in pediatrics to obtain Nigerian fellowship degrees. He has received grants from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, University of Edinburgh in the UK, pneumococcal Accelerated Development and Introduction Plan, National Institute for Health Research, GlaxoSmithKline, as well as European and developing countries clinical trial partnership. 3. Joint undertaking. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Adegoke Gbadegesin Falade for induction as Fellow of the Academy.
I, Adegoke Gbadegesin Falade, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Leo Chibu Suji to the podium. Leo Chibu Osuji, BSc Applied Chemistry, Port Harcourt, 1986, MSc Organic Geochemistry, PhD Environmental Toxicology, Ibadan, 1998, specializes in geochemistry and oil pollution studies. He has over 150 peer-reviewed articles in leading journals, including Nature and Science, H-index of 28, 2,343 citations, and is widely acclaimed for his work on oil fingerprinting. His 1997 drilling mud additive, CMC, formulated from organic mesocarp, was confirmed to be superior to the commercial brand, Hercules Arrow 110. His breakthrough formation of new and greener water in oil demulsifier with higher knockout rates. Commercial brand attracted the World Bank Award for Research Excellence and has been patented, while his team's work on revegetation of Nembe mangroves after the devastating impact of oil prospecting won the Green and Sustainable Chemistry Switzerland Award in 2010. His research team recorded breakthroughs on hotspots, pathways, and dispersion patterns of black soot that suffused Port Harcourt and its environs. Their findings led to remediation measures adopted by the Rivers State government. Professor Suji has successfully supervised and mentored 34 PhD students as the academic board chaired as general manager, while at the NCDMB, he spearheaded innovative solutions through research initiatives and capacity building to drive local content development in the oil and gas industry. Osuji is a member of Chemical Society of Nigeria, American Society for Testing Materials, Society of Petroleum Engineers, a seasoned environmental practitioner registered with the National Registry of Environmental Professionals. He was NUCCC Mass Reviewer for Petroleum Chemistry. Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you Professor Leo Chibu Osuji to be inducted into the Nigerian Academy of Science.
I, Leo Chibu Osuji, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the academy according to the statutes and bylaws.
on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Kenneth Ikechukwu Ozemena to the podium. Kenneth Ikechukwu Ozemena is research professor at the University of Witwatersrand, where he has the South African SARO CHI chair in materials electrochemistry and materials technologies. He holds a PhD degree in chemistry from Rhodes University, South Africa, 2003. His research activities are focused on electrochemical energy systems, including lithium batteries and fuel cells, and electrochemical sensors. He has more than 20 years research experience in academia and industry. During his 8-year stint at the South Africa's Council for Scientific and Industrial Research as chief research scientist, he successfully re-established the previously abandoned R&D in lithium-ion batteries. His research activities have led to the publication of more than 250 articles in SCI-accredited learned journals, 11 book chapters, 3 edited books, and 12 patents, including 2 granted USA patents in lithium-ion batteries. His H-index is 63, with over 11,270 citations, Google Scholar. His works have been used as cover pages for some learned journals and presented as plenary and keynote lectures at international conferences. He has supervised several students, 32 PhDs, 29 MSc, including Nigerians. For example, Professor Adekunle, OAU Ife, Professor Agbola, American University Yola, and Professor Mamuru, Adamawa State University Yola. Some of his research awards include 1, A-rated researcher by the South Africa's National Research Foundation, awarded to leading international scholars, and 2, with Vice Chancellor's Research Award. He is a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa, fellow of the African Academy of Sciences, member of the Governing Council, and Vice President, South African Region of the African Academy of Sciences, fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry. He is the co-editor-in-chief of the Electrochemistry Communications, Elsevier, and associate editor of Electrocatalysis, Springer Nature. He serves on the editorial board of several journals, including Scientific Reports, Springer Nature, and ChemCom ROSC Publishing. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Kenneth Ikechukwu Ozemena to be inducted as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science.
I, Kenneth Ikechukwu Ozemena, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
by the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Uchechukwu Eyim Vincent to the podium. Uchechukwu Vincent is a professor of physics and dean, Faculty of Natural Sciences, Redeemers University, Edo. He holds a PhD physics from the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Professor Vincent is well known for his original scientific contributions in the development of theories and simulation techniques for non-linear dynamical systems, chaos control, synchronization, and resonances. He has published extensively in peer-reviewed journals. His Google Scholar H index is 30. Professor Vincent was the first scientist to observe and report synchronization phenomenon in coupled ratchets in 2004, which triggered numerous research works that today have significantly enriched the understanding of transport phenomenon of interacting nonlinear systems and their applications in biomolecules. Further mathematical proofs of the stability conditions based on linear matrix inequalities, active backstepping control, adaptive and finite time control techniques were presented with their potential applications in control engineering. These control strategies have been effectively applied to a wide range of nonlinear systems. In 2015, Professor Vincent and co-workers designed a novel multi-switching master-slave synchronization strategy for a combination of multiple chaotic systems with potential for improved secure information transmission. University, United Kingdom since 2009. Professor Vincent is a fellow of the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, one of the first three African recipients of the prestigious Royal Society Newton International Fellowship, and a recipient of the African Mathematician Union Young African Mathematician Nobel. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Uchechukwu Eyim Vincent for induction as a Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science.
I, Uchechukwu Eyim Vincent, hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, disseminate scientific knowledge, and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws. By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you
as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Mr. President, may I invite Professor Charles Ubowa, Foreign Fellow, to the podium. Professor Charles Ubowa is a distinguished professor at the University of South Africa. He was previously an academic and pro-vice chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, professor at the University of Johannesburg, railway engineer, vice dean, acting executive dean, special advisor to dean, faculty of engineering. He holds BSc honors mechanical engineering, MSc OMMS, and Doctor of Engineering. He has published very widely, was Fulbright Scholar, GATEC, and Japan Foundation Fellowship. He is a fellow Industrial Engineering and Operations Management, IEOM, fellow Zimbabwe Institution of Engineers, registered engineer, Engineering Council of Zimbabwe, and fellow Zimbabwe Academy of Sciences. He supervised 60 masters, 30 doctoral students, and 12 postdoctoral fellows. His research profiles, as at 23rd July 2024, was Google Scholar H Index 42 /78 73 citations, Scopus H Index 31, and 3,386 citations, WS H Index 23, and 1,854 citations. Professor Mbowa's main contributions and breakthroughs are as follows. He developed a unique environmental performance index used for life cycle assessment of engineering systems. It includes the upstream, internal input, internal output, and the downstream environmental aspects of products and processes. He developed a computational structure of life cycle assessment using matrix algebra, using rectangular matrices and pseudo-inverses of matrices to develop an algorithm used in the design of engineering products for the environment. It has done waste biomass quantification, characterization, and biogas potential assessment for the city of Johannesburg, contributing to the better understanding of communities of microorganisms suitable for the type of waste in the city. It contributed to the sustainability engineering work in Nigeria through data collection, discourse, new knowledge in solid waste management, food waste bioenergy, environmental sustainability, ecological conservation, solar photovoltaic modules, solar modeling, life cycle assessment, foreign remittances sustainability, biomass conversion, small hydropower, mini grids in Nigeria, cement supply chains in Nigeria, green supply chains, and pharmaceutical value chains. The development of global guidance principles for life cycle assessment databases, and the development of methodological sheets for subcategories in social life cycle assessment in UNEP task forces. These are used by researchers worldwide. Mr. President, I present to you Professor Charles Ubowa to be inducted as the fifth foreign fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science.
I, Charles Mbowa, hereby
hereby solemnly promise to promote, declare, and disseminate scientific knowledge and serve the Academy according to its statutes and bylaws.
By the power conferred on me, I formally admit you as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. Congratulations.
Okay, so we are almost at the finish line, and to get us there, we'll ask welcome the Vice President of the Nigerian Academy of Science for a brief vote of thanks.
President, sir, the members of the Governing Council, past president of the Academy, let me first of all welcome all of you for coming here, especially to thank God for bringing us from our various destinations to this venue. Today, everything has happened seamlessly without a single challenge, so we thank God for that. But most specifically, let me thank the president, members of the Governing Council, who made this event to happen, especially also the secretariat, who put everything in place to ensure that this took place today. I also want to especially thank the past president, immediate past president, the woman that we so dearly love, and we call her Mama NAS, because she was the one that led the process that eventually eventuated in today's elections of people who will be sworn in. I know you will give her a round of applause for doing something that was very... I also want to thank Professor Babatunde Rabiu for his excellent lecture. I learned a lot. Thank you very much for that lecture. And to thank our fellows, those who came from the United States of America, Professor Cholonu, those who came from all parts of Nigeria. The thing you should know about the Academy of Science here in Nigeria is that they live their like families. I can tell you that one of the events I like to attend anywhere in this country, today I'm not feeling too well. Those who know me will know I'm not feeling too well. Yet I decided to come because it's always a joy to meet all of our fellow colleagues. So thank you very much for coming. Let me properly thank those who, and congratulate those who have been sworn in. As fellows, I want to assure you that I've come to a very great academy. You'll be very proud of. You see some of the challenges, some of the issues, where we are regarded as one of the major science bodies in Nigeria, going around the entire African continent. I'm sure you will know very sooner or later why this is so. I know many of you, but Specifically, let me talk of Professor Afolabi from University of Lagos, who was actually my student at the University of Ife. And I think she learned O&G through me. And I was very proud of her because she was one of the best students in her class. I knew she would go places, and she's still going to go places. So I congratulate all those who have been inducted today, their families, and all their friends that came with them. And I wish you all the very best and all your future endeavors. And finally, let me thank our special guest, Professor Harmona. You were with you yesterday. Thank you very much for coming. And our friend from the French Embassy, bonjour. Thank you for coming. And all our very special friends who are here today, I thank you all. I wish you jolly mercy to your various destinations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We wish there was more, but none today. So we'll have to stop there. And we'll finish. After this, there's light refreshment for everybody. And fellows can go on for their lunch later on. But your pictures, there'll be a group picture